So, why didn't the Aborigines ever develop agriculture? Most people think of the Aborigines as these primitive groups that never developed any culture or civilization, but that simply is not true. Yes, perhaps there were never any cities or villages on the continent of Australia until the arrival of the Europeans, but before we assume that the Aborigines were primitive for not developing the European concept of civilization, you must first understand why they never developed agriculture in the first place. You see, Australia is not a hospitable place for agriculture, or at least during the past 40,000 years, the vast swaths of the continent/country turned from lush forests to essentially deserts, and deserts are not a good place to farm. Northern Australia especially is not good at holding in nutrients, has a lot of flammable vegetation that is not good for farming. Although nearby parts such as the Pacific Islands developed agriculture and it is likely that it would have spread into Australian land, agriculture was never really meant for the continent. Combine that with the fact that there are no relatively docile animals to domesticate. Really, who wants to ride a kangaroo? Not me, especially with the potential damage that the murderous marsupials could do. There were no pigs, cows, horses, or any of the easy to domesticate animals on the continent. And basically all of these factors conspiring against them. Even if the Aborigines were given a choice to adopt agriculture, most of them would likely not do so. Agriculture requires settling down in close proximity of one another, which would spawn more disease. It also required more hard work than hunting and gathering, and early farmers actually lived worse and shorter lives than hunter gatherers. Since basically none of the tribes of Australia adopted agriculture, at least that we know for sure, there were no motive for the hunter gatherers to compete against the higher population densities of farmers by adopting agriculture on their own. Instead, they followed the same form of life that their ancestors had for thousands of years, gathering nourishment. Living in low population densities, hunting and gathering allowed the Aborigines to thrive longer in one place than any other group other than native Africans. So why was there reason to change? Of course, the Europeans didn't see it that way when they began colonization efforts in the late 1700s. However, even they found farming difficult at first. Bushfires and native marsupials devastated their crops, domesticated animals simply fled their pastures. Even in the modern age, with technology such as dams and irrigation systems, the vast majority of Australian agricultural lands are non-productive. Increased drought due to global warming will only make Australian farming harder than it already is. So, in an answer to why the Aborigines never developed agriculture, there are two main reasons why. Firstly, the environment and fauna were not hospitable to agriculture. And secondly, there was really no need for them, too. Without any external or internal pressures to adopt agriculture and thriving on a hunter gatherer basis, why waste valuable energy and time on agriculture?